Sometimes things are scary. Like Lisa Frankenstein, it was really hard for me to think I could do it. But you know it's right for you because I realized that no one else can do this role but me.
Kathryn Newton, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to talk about all you're building in the Hollywood space, in the golf world, all you're working on. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Forbes. I've always wanted to be Forbes 30 under 30. So
Love it. Well, we're glad to have you here. So let's start. For people who you're just meeting and people maybe who have not heard your name before, give me a 30-second pitch to who Kathryn Newton is.
Wow. Okay. My name's Kathryn Newton, and I'm an actress, and I play golf, and that's it.
Okay, love it. That's shorter than 30 seconds, so we'll take it. How did you first get your foot in the door of the acting world?
That's a great question. I was in New York City at a really young age, and this casting director saw me after I had been going to see Gypsy with Bernadette Peters. Back in the day, it was like $20 for a ticket. So I would go every night, and I fell in love with Bernadette Peters, and I wanted to be Gypsy Rose so bad, and I would sing it on the street corners. I wasn't good or anything. And then I'd get the coins and give it to the church on the corner. And a casting director said to my mom, she's really cute, she should audition for something. And she didn't even know I could read. And I went on a few auditions and I booked it. I booked All My Children and I was on it for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I just kind of kept doing it. And I never thought of it as anything except fun. I was a very shy kid. Point up at the sky shy, teachers calling home and be like, Kathryn's not talking to anybody. What's up?
My parents got the same call, so.
You really?
Yes.
So I feel like my parents just tried to introduce me to everything. That's how golf came about, but it wasn't just golf and acting. It was ballet, it was tennis, it was swim, it was basketball, and those were the two things that I think I thrived in. And as you know, being on a set is a really cool place because everyone wants you to do a really good job. So growing up, I was exposed to people who just wanted to bring the best out of me and had really terrific experiences that I'm just trying to recreate.
You have been a part of multiple different genres of the world, but you are really focused on the horror genre. Can you walk me through kind of what that was like to stumble upon that sort of space in your career?
That is a great question because, it's not something you do on purpose.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old when I did my first horror film. It was called Paranormal Activity 4. It was a Paramount movie, and I was the lead of a Paramount movie. It was just a great role. And I had no idea that it would change my life because I learned how to improvise. That whole movie was improv. I was basically the only one in the movie. Talk about learning how to be an actor. Now, years later, I found horror somewhere I just keep returning to because the roles allow me to go places that are really risky and just a departure from reality. I think horror touches people beyond a rom-com does or an action film does or a fantasy film because horror is real and you don't have to be beautiful and you don't have to be in love to be afraid, and people all know what it's like to be in the dark and get scared, and I think that's why people like them so much.
Yeah,
it's too relatable, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally. You, as you mentioned, you started acting when you were super young and kind of got into this space a little bit later in your life. What was your education in acting? What did your prep look like throughout the years? How did you learn to become an actor?
That's a great question. You've done this before. Well, the truth is that I learned on the job. I think you want to be like the people you're around, and I got lucky to work with people who gave me good examples. And that's the truth. I would watch movies, I would see movies I liked and be like, why do I like this actor? I remember I saw Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man, I'm not kidding. And I had been working up until that time as an actor, and I saw him in Iron Man, and I was like, that's a movie star. I got to be in a Marvel film to be a movie star. And I told myself by the time I'm 25, if you didn't do it, go back to college. Because I was very good in school. I was top of my class, did the commencement speech and all that, and ran for class president, nobody cared. Golf captain, And it was a hard choice to not go to school because I was working. So it's just you got to have goals and you got to keep moving forward. But that's how I learned, was just kind of faking it, acting like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't ask questions. I just pretended like I knew, and no one ever told me I was wrong. And then if you're the director and you're telling me what to do, you're just trying to help me. Everyone was just trying to help me do my best.
Yeah. If you had not gone the acting route, what would you be doing right now?
I would probably be a professional golfer.
Okay.
I think I would have given it a shot. I would have gone to USC and played in college and maybe studied psychology. I like people, and I think that's what I would have studied, literature, and then I would have tried to go pro. Because I'm an athlete. Like, I love being athletic. I don't know that I would have been winning everything or anything, but I'll never know.
Yeah. Does that athletic side of you, I'm sure it makes you a little bit competitive, you know, it makes you want to win, like being in these different environments sports-wise, how does that impact your role as an actor?
That's a good, okay. I'm competitive, but not without reason. Like, I don't walk in a room and be like, I'm gonna think I'm better than anybody, because the truth is I have a lot of second place trophies. And when you are an athlete, in my experience, sometimes you win and then next week we go back out and we have to start all over again and we're exactly the same. Acting is not a sport. It's subjective, and sometimes a job is meant for you and I don't know why, and then sometimes I get a job and I realize why later. So I'm not that competitive. I'm really good at losing, though. I tell you what, I'm a good loser, and that's a problem. I should be a little more like cutthroat and think more, but I'm not. I'm not that competitive. People think I am because I like to talk like I'm
have a big
competitive.
talk. Yeah.
What is that called? Like smack talk?
Yeah.
Big, huge smack talk.
Okay.
Can't take it.
Okay.
Don't give it back to me. But I can be quick. I'm very quick.
All right, well, I'll be ready for that.
Yes, just don't say it back to me until we're done filming.
Okay, all right. I'll keep it quiet. In the acting space, you know, going through many different audition processes, I'm sure throughout your whole life, kind of, you know, this is a very competitive industry. What have you found to be like the secret sauce to when you are booking these deals or when these jobs are made for you?
I wish I knew. I think the secret is to always feel like you've already won. You know, you don't need anything. And auditions are really fun. You know, I still don't know how to audition. I don't think you ever really figure it out because my process is constantly changing from role to role to character. So for me now, it's about just learning about myself each time. And the real secret is just having fun, which is really easy to do. It's not hard to have a good time auditioning and trying for things. I mean, going back to golf, they say practice makes perfect, and it's because you walk into good luck. You have to keep trying, and eventually you just get lucky. The things that don't work out, there's a reason. So I just trust that. And I've had a lot of auditions that you didn't get, and you see why. And then I don't know why I get the ones I get, but you feel it somehow after where you were like, oh, I knew it. I knew that whole time. But I don't think you really ever know why you get a job. So
do you think that the success that you've had has been primarily skill, primarily luck? Like, what is the kind of combination that has led you into the place that you are today?
At this point, it's relationships and good experiences. I've been lucky to have repeat business with people I've worked with in the past who ask me to work it together again. And that's the biggest win. Beyond like just working is a win, to if you and I do a movie together and you're like, hey, Kathryn, would you do this with me? That is such a big win because it means like we have a good relationship and we've done something good together and we want to do it again. So at this point in my career, that's all I want to do is work with people I already have a trust with, because that's what you have to have. Like I said earlier, when you're on a set, people want the best from you, and you only know people so much, but when you're on a movie set, it's just a different level of intimacy, and you have to be open. I have no choice but to trust you. Definitely. And all these people here, because what else am I gonna do? Hold back?
Totally.
That'll just waste everybody's time.
Yeah.
So my goal right now, and the reason I've had success at this moment, is repeating business, working with people who I already love and trust.
Has there been someone in your life, in your career, that you feel like has really made a difference? Like without them, you would not be where you are today?
There's so many. I could talk about them forever. I mean, everybody I've worked with, anyone I've worked with, I feel confident enough to call and say, hey, could you help me? Or I have a question. But the number one that comes to mind right now is Chris Landon and Jason Blum. Chris Landon and Jason Blum did Paranormal Activity 4, and then they called me and put me in Freaky, and now Jason is doing something else with me. So that has shown me the truth. You grow up thinking you do a movie, you're never going to see anybody again. And now I know it's actually not true. It's what you do with the people it's like having any friend. How do you take care of those relationships? So those are big impacts. But I mean, if you know, I've worked with some really amazing actors and actresses, so.
Speaking of these impactful people that you've been able to work with, I read that you were a huge fan of Frances Ha and really wanted to work with Greta Gerwig, and asked her, can I be a part of this movie?
Yes.
Can you walk me through that experience a little bit? What was that like?
There's some things that you just really want. And Frances Ha was a movie that changed my life. Like I went to see it twice by myself. I dragged my best friend to go see it. Then I fell in love with Greta Gerwig, and I started to get really into mumblecore. I made mumblecore short films that no one will ever see. It inspired me. And when they had the auditions for Ladybird, I had to audition for a different role that I knew wasn't right. And I just wrote Greta, and I wanted to be in the movie, and they found a really small role that she didn't think was really right, but it didn't matter because I really believe as an actor, it's so silly, but there's really no small roles. It's all the same to me. Like every role I have the opportunity to do, it's the same process for me. And I had so much fun. The little backpack, the rolling backpack, the way I just fell into it. And I wanted to make Saoirse Ronan and Beanie Feldstein, like I wanted to impress them. And I just wanted to be around them. You just want to be surrounded by people better than you. And I was just like very wide-eyed and open, and they're really lovely. So if you're out there and you want to work with Greta Gerwig, I guess it can happen to you because it happened to me.
What is your process once you land a role to really like get into that character? What do you do to do that?
I freak out for a little while.
Okay.
Have no idea. And then eventually I think I procrastinate. I'm also the kind of actor that like feels really excited under the gun. When they're like, action, I'll do it. I won't hold back. But it's very hard to know what to do up until then. And I like to talk to other artists. I love to talk to the director and the other actors about the sense of the world. And then I like to build the character from the outside and start with her vanity. I get really into the vanity of a character. I learned that from Meryl Streep on Big Little Lies because she said something about my hair. She was like, I love the long hair Abigail has. The vanity of your character is so important. And I was like, yeah, I made that choice. Didn't know that I made a choice, but she was like, that's how you build a character. So for me, I found that I really love the wardrobe, the hair and the makeup, all of that changes how you stand. Have you ever put on a dress and like stand up straighter? You wear heels and you change the way you walk, or you put on sneakers and sweatpants. It's just like, so I love to start there.
Yeah. How do you know when a role is right for you? You mentioned that some of these, like, it wasn't maybe the right fit, or some that you really did know. Right. What do you gravitate towards?
I think, and deep down when something's right for you because it's not hard. Sometimes things are scary, and that makes it hard. Like Lisa Frankenstein, it was really hard for me when I finally got it to like think I could do it. But that was a good kind of hard because it was so fun. But it's right for you because I realized that no one else can do this role but me. Like no one. If I know I can make the movie better. Sometimes you're trying to do something and you're like, I don't know if I can make this the best thing ever. So you kind of have to just accept that. But some roles pass you and you're like, well, I would be really good in it. I know everyone's like a really big deal in it, but I think I could be great in this role. And those are the ones that you really usually pull in.
What do you think sets you apart? As we were, kind of speaking about, as an actor, like you are your own brand, you are your own business. You have to bring something to the table that in a saturated and very competitive industry, other people are trying to do the same thing. So what sets you apart? What do you bring to the table on these sets and in these different rooms?
Probably nothing, but I really don't know. I think that I've been doing this a long time, and I have a lot of respect for the people that are trying to do the same thing. And I think I'm a team player. At the end of the day, acting is sharing and listening, and I think that there's a time to be the center and then there's a time to help someone else shine. And I really want to be the kind of actor who isn't just funny but can make you funny. Very generous. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I think that standing apart from other people is simply by just being cool with yourself. So I'm doing that. I play a lot of golf. I keep it real. I'll tell you when I think I'm doing a good job, and if I'm not, I'll be humble about it. But that's the thing, is I don't think I'm any different than anybody else. I think I'm no better than anyone. So maybe that's it.
What's been the biggest challenge or hurdle that you've had to overcome, whether that's like a specific role or just like life in the Hollywood industry?
The biggest challenge in the industry? I don't think it's that hard. I think that's the challenge, is people always telling you how hard it is, and like thinking the industry is a tough business. It's an art. It's fun. I don't think it's that hard. And I say that lightly because I think acting is a work, it's a project, it takes discipline. But the challenge has always been to just stay connected to me and my inner child, and like the purity of this fun thing I get to do. That's all it is. It's play. It's all. It doesn't have to be like heavy and hard and trying to get things. It's not fun. It's like playing dress up in your living room. Was that hard? No, probably not. So no, I think the hardest thing is sticking around and just staying who you are.
How about like breaking into the industry though? Because so many people want to be in a spot where you're at. So what's your advice for people who are, maybe that's the hurdle that they're coming upon right now?
Today, I think it's make your own projects. I think everyone has the ability. You don't need $1 million. Apparently, you just need an iPhone. And I think we all have one of those now. I'm kind of exploring that right now, developing your own things and creating your own movies. I don't think you have to wait for anybody. I don't think you ever had to wait for anybody. And now we're just kind of realizing it. And I often think about people trying to break out who just graduated from college. I have no idea. It's not even the same thing anymore. But I will argue there's a lot of projects. So there might be more opportunity. I think that there might be more opportunity, but that's what I would say. If you want to be an actor and you don't know where to start, I would be like, make your own movie. Because it's really not that different.
What is the biggest difference though from starting when you were 4 years old, 20 years ago to now? So much has changed in the industry. What's been the biggest change in your eyes?
Probably how much the narrative shifts, not just from your projects, but from like who you are. I really love old movies and old movie stars, probably because I don't know anything about them. And now I think the industry's changed where people do know me. They know who I am, or at least they think they know who I am, and I'm trying to show them who I am through my films, through what I post on social media, what I wear on a red carpet, and that is also really, it opens you up. So I think the industry has opened up a lot more to where it's not just about your movies anymore, it's everything. So it's like, what story do you want to tell? And I'm figuring that out and I'm writing it every day. I think that's the biggest change. It's like, it's not just about your movie anymore, it's who are you? People want to know who you are. And I think that's scary.
Yeah, I want to talk about the future of the entertainment space right now with things like AI coming into play. How is that impacting you and your career and your thoughts about like what is going to be able to be created, whether that's going to have any restrictions moving forward?
Well, I already thought anything was possible. And now I guess now it really is. Like now really anything is possible. But I've done Marvel films where they do the body scan and like you can do amazing things with it. So it's a tool. And I think as long as the right people are using it, maybe it'll be all right. That's my hope, right?
Along with AI, are there any other trends that you think are coming up in the industry that you expect to really change the way that things are created or what people are interested in watching and being entertained by in the future?
Yes, I think that the big one is content. I think people can get content wherever they want. I think YouTube is huge. It might be the future. Movies will always stand the test of time, I think. But I think it's what I said earlier, that you're going to see a lot more people making movies, myself included, with their own companies and then getting them out there, putting them in theaters. I was blown away by Taylor Swift, how she put her movie in AMC herself. She distributed it herself. I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. She can't be the only one who's that smart, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the future. I think people are going to make their own things and do it themselves. So I'm hoping to be a part of that future.
You talk about these other opportunities for people to create for themselves, for, as you're kind of trying to do that as well, venturing into these other forms of media. Do you ever see yourself going the like directing, producing route more so or equally to as much as you're acting today?
I feel like that is something happening naturally where I'm on a movie and the producers are talking to me and they're talking to me about this project. And then when you do the movie now, the director's talking to you about who they should cast. And you are doing things producers do simply because you're having conversations with people who want to hear what you have to say. The biggest challenge for me is realizing a producer has to say no. And I'm not very good at saying no. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll do that. Because as an actor, like you just kind of say, yeah, okay. Jump how high? I'll do it. I'll do it the best you've ever seen. Watch. And the producer's really more, you can't do that as a producer. You have to like really know what you want, because it's very hard to get a movie made and you really only got one shot to do it right. So I'm learning that.
What's been the biggest lesson as you've been talking with these producers, having these conversations with them? What's been the biggest lesson that you've learned that's helped you in your career?
Everybody says yes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's like, yeah, we'll do that. That's a great idea. Let's do it. Yes, let's do it in 2 weeks. I'm like, what? Everyone acts like it's so hard. That's the biggest thing. People are always like, say no. Your power is in your nose, which I believe in a lot of ways. But then the secret, I think, is saying yes and making it good. That's how I've gotten where I've gotten. I've said yes to everything.
Yeah.
And then I've gotten on a set and I was where I really wanted to be, and I did my best to have fun and kill it.
Yeah.
And then you get lucky and it's good.
Has there been a decision you made or a role that you took and you said yes to that you feel like has been really surprisingly either successful or surprisingly something that you just have loved to do?
It was definitely like it would be, I think the first one that I ever, like, it kind of changed my life was Freaky. That was an amazing offer from Chris wanting to work with me again. And I think that's the reason I got Ant-Man. So that one, Chris said it to me too. He was like, I think this is the first movie where I really think you're a movie star. And I think he did that for me, and it opened up a lot of doors. So that one caught people, and that's special.
Of all these legends that you've worked with, are there any lessons or moments in your time with them that you think about time and time again as you're returning to set as something that you want to, just trying to bring into the different characters?
One of the biggest things I learned was from Vince Vaughn on Freaky, because we didn't have that many scenes together. We had this one scene, and it was a couple weeks in, and I wish it was at the beginning, because I saw him trying so many things and improvising so many things to just see what's going to work. And I saw him doing it, and I was like, well, I gotta help him out, because nobody else was doing it. So immediately I started trying things. And I don't remember what made it in the movie. Maybe none of it made it in the movie. But now on every job I do, again, a lesson from Reese Witherspoon on Big Little Lies, she was like, we always do it as written first. You always do one as written, at least once, maybe twice, but then you can play. So I've always done that, where I do it as written, get into that, and then I try to change, I don't know, just to see what I can come up with. It's pretty important to keep it. And sometimes you get directors, like on Abigail, who never told me no. And you get opportunities that are this small, and because they say, yes, Kathryn, we like it, they become giant dance sequences that are 3 minutes long that were not supposed to be in the movie. And that's all you can ask for, is that kind of creativity. And again, it's about giving other actors something to work with. When I saw Vince doing that, I just wanted to give him something to work with. It's very important.
For the future, the next couple of years, as you're kind of thinking about all these things that are changing and different routes that you might want to go down, what is your vision for the future of Kathryn Newton? Is it more horror? Is it other, avenues, other genres? What's your picture? My biggest goal right now is to make some fans really happy. They're really important to me, and I see what they're reacting to. I just want to entertain. So that's my goal right now. Get something that's going to entertain some people, going to bring people to the movies, get people either dressed up, make it fun. That's my goal right now. And I really hope other people have that goal, because that's all I want for everyone. Definitely. My last question for you is, what is the legacy that you want to leave on the Hollywood industry? Oh, the legacy I hope to leave is that when I said I was going to do something, I did it. And I did it. That's all. I want to do it now while I'm alive. Hopefully after I'm gone, it worked out and people remember the good things I did. But really, I just want to be able to do what I want right now. It's very hard to get what you want. So I'm hoping I keep getting things to want. You know how hard it is to dream? After you feel like you've dreamt and had it, you got to come up with new goals. Do you have any new goals that are emerging? Not today? Really, no. Okay. It's a problem. You need goals, big goals, dreams that you think will never happen. It keeps you grounded, it keeps you focused. So I gotta go to the movies, start dreaming. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was so great to hear about all that you're working on and building. Thank you for interviewing me. You're really great. Thanks, Forbes.